Okay, so today's video is all about the worst makeup I tried in 2024. I actually tried a lot of products that did not work for me this year, and that just kind of comes with the territory because I test out so many products. Obviously, they can't all be absolute favorites, holy grails, and don't get me wrong, I tried a ton of really good products this year as well. I'm going to do a video on my favorite drugstore makeup and my favorite high-end makeup of the year, and those videos should be up soon, but I thought we would get the worst of products out of the way first. So in today's video, I'm going to share the makeup products that did not work for me, the ones that I don't think are worth the money, and just the ones that I wouldn't recommend buying. Now, if you do have different preferences than me, or you have a different skin type or different techniques, some of these products could absolutely work for you, and I'll be sure to share that in today's video if that's the case. But I'll also share some alternatives that I like better, and for every category, I tried to find a drugstore or affordable alternative as well, in case you just don't want to spend the money on the more expensive option. So I hope today's video is helpful. Okay, so let me start with this product first. This is probably the product I was most disappointed by in 2024. I honestly don't think the quality is worth it, or the price. I don't think the price, what am I trying to say? I don't think the quality justifies the price. As we all know, Patrick Ta products are expensive. They've always been a little bit more of an expensive brand, and some of the products are absolutely amazing. But with the launch of his most recent $42 eyeshadow quads, it seems like he's moving in the direction of luxury priced products, which is fine if that's what the brand wants to do, but the quality has to be there. And I didn't try those eyeshadow duos. I know I heard some mixed reviews, but I did try his highlighter duo. This is the Major Glow Cream and Powder Light Reflecting Highlighter Duo. This was pretty expensive too. It was $40. I will be the first to say that the Patrick Ta blush duos are one of the best formulas out there, both the powder and the cream. They are absolutely amazing separately. They look gorgeous together. And honestly, I just had high hopes for the highlighter duo because it kind of seemed like it would be the same case. This got a lot of mixed reviews on social media, and it did seem like maybe there were some quality control issues because depending on the duo you got, like the specific shades, it seemed like some of the balms were kind of melty, maybe the powders were a little bit dry. So I can't speak for all of them. I got the duo Baby, which looks absolutely gorgeous in the pan. I was so excited for a pink highlighter duo, but the quality just isn't there. Here's the thing about this duo. It actually looks really good in photos and on video. So if you're watching beauty videos or you're watching TikToks, you might be interested in buying it when you see someone apply it, but in person, it doesn't translate the same way. The powder in here has some chunky glitter in it, so I don't find that it's super flattering on my skin, and the actual formula itself looks and feels pretty dry, like very chalky. There are so many gorgeous, lightweight, silky, smooth, glass-like highlighters these days, and when I tried this one, I was just instantly disappointed in it. So I don't love the powder. If you layer the balm on top, it kind of softens the powder and it definitely makes it look a little bit better, but the balm itself is a little bit greasy. It almost has like an oily feel to it, and I haven't used this in a little while, and you can almost see like a layer of oil sitting on top. Because it is like a very greasy formula, it definitely disturbs whatever makeup I'm wearing underneath, whether that is foundation or blush or even just concealer. It instantly makes it look heavy and cakey. It moves it around. So as someone who does like to wear base makeup, it really isn't very practical because it disturbs everything underneath. If you're looking for an alternative, I do have two to share with you. I didn't share any powder highlighter alternatives because honestly, like any other powder highlighter, in my opinion, is better than the Patrick Ta one. But if you want a balmy, creamy type of formula, I do recommend the Merit Day Glow Highlighting Balms. These are so underrated. They're absolutely gorgeous on the skin. I like to just use my finger and tap it into my skin, but you can use a brush, you can draw it directly onto the skin. It definitely gives you like this kind of translucent finish. So it's similar to Patrick Ta in that way, but it's not as greasy. Like it's not going to break your makeup down as quickly. It is a cream product and it doesn't, again, fully set on the skin, but because it is so light, I feel like it doesn't feel heavy on the skin like this one does. If you want an affordable alternative, Flower Beauty makes something called the Day Glow Highlighting Glaze. I've been talking about this for a few years. It's a little bit thicker than Merit's formula. I would say it's maybe closer in texture to Patrick Ta. And again, I would recommend using your fingers or a damp beauty sponge to really press this product onto the skin, but it just looks really pretty. It makes your skin look like it's glowing. It is just like that interesting kind of creamy texture. And you're not going to get like a ton of color payoff, but you're just going to get like that natural, I've been outside, I'm a little bit like warm, and my skin is naturally glowy type of look. Another fail in the cheek product category would be this one from Saie. Now, keep in mind what I've learned about myself in 2024 is that I typically don't prefer liquid bronzers, liquid contours to cream bronzers and cream contours. I'm definitely a cream fan. I think liquids for me can be a little bit too sheer, they can blend out a little bit too much. So, part of this does come down to personal preference. If you love a very sheer, very natural liquid bronzer, you might actually like this product. But even still, I do think there are alternatives out there that are less expensive that perform better. So this is the Dew Bronze. I have the shade Salt. The reason I bought this is because I really thought it would be the same formula as their liquid blushes. I think it was kind of marketed in a very similar way. And the second I applied it to my skin, actually the second I opened it up, I was like, that is not the same formula. The blushes are definitely a little bit more of like a traditional liquid, whereas this almost has like a whipped moussey texture, which honestly, maybe that will be a pro for you. It all comes down to personal preference, but I feel like when I blend this onto my skin, it shears out so fast and almost a little bit too much. So honestly, I would recommend going like a shade or two darker than you normally would when it comes to this product, because as you blend it out, it almost kind of disappears into the skin, which some people do love a very natural liquid bronzer. And if that's you, you might actually really enjoy this product. But I feel like it's hard to layer up. It's hard to build up because it has that whipped moussey texture. So as you blend it out, it almost just disappears every single time. And when I set my makeup with powder, it like completely disappears. It's pretty much gone. I almost find it just to be a little bit too natural. On top of that, it looks patchy on my skin. Like it definitely lifts my foundation, which I've noticed that a lot of liquid products can tend to do that. But again, I think it's the texture of this product that just doesn't really work for me and the way that I like to do my makeup. So personally, I found this to be a fail, but I know there are people who do enjoy it. So I wouldn't say it's the worst formula out there, just something that didn't work for me personally. If you're looking for a less expensive alternative, e.l.f. actually ended up launching their camo liquid bronzers and contours not too long ago. And I think that this formula is a little bit easier to use. It's not as whipped or as airy. It's more of a traditional liquid bronzer. So I find that I get more of an even look, especially if I use the right tools with this product. And even though it blends out and ends up looking really sheer, really natural on the skin, you can build this one up. It does layer a lot easier than this product's. And it's also a lot less expensive. And one more pro, e.l.f. definitely has a better shade range than Saie. So I feel like all around, this is a better alternative. The formulas are not the exact same, but I feel like you get a very similar effect, but better. I do have another product from Saie that did not work out for me. I will say that I totally fell into the hype surrounding this product and this launch. I feel like it got so much hype on social media, and that's the case with like every single makeup launch these days. A lot of complexion launches I feel like are super hyped up. And the truth is, you might have something in your collection that already does the job, and you might not really need this product. I also think if this was marketed in a different way, I probably wouldn't have tried it. They do market it as like a longer wearing, brightening, moisturizing, medium coverage concealer. I find the coverage to be a little bit lighter than I typically like. I do like a true medium coverage concealer, maybe even full coverage concealer. And when I initially apply this and blend it out, it blends really nicely, but I feel like you lose a lot of coverage and then I have to end up going in with more. I will say this gives the under eyes a nice bright appearance. It has this really pretty, like naturally glowy finish to it, so it looks really, really flattering. But my issue is that it creases so badly. If you have fine lines or wrinkles, pretty much any complexion product is going to end up creasing on you, but some of them end up creasing so much faster than others, and this one creases instantly. Even if I set my concealer into place with like a super long wearing powder, it doesn't matter. I'll still end up with creasing pretty quickly. They do claim that it's long wearing, but it breaks down on me pretty fast. Like this is an area where my makeup tends to break down fast just because I am oily, or I tend to be oily most of the year. And this one just does not last on my skin. If you have dry skin, you might prefer this product. But when it comes down to it, I just think there are other more hydrating concealers out there that perform better, that are longer wearing, that feel better on the skin. The number one product that I would recommend instead is the Tower 28 concealer. This one actually has very, very similar claims, but I feel like this one actually lives up to the claims. It's definitely more hydrating in my opinion, and it does not crease as quickly. It has like that same thin blendable consistency. So it's super easy to blend out, but it actually lasts on my oily skin, even on like a super hot, humid day. And I would say this one is even more glowy on the skin than the Saie concealer. So overall, I think this one is so much better, just in my personal opinion. And if you're looking for a drugstore alternative, again, I know I've talked about this product for years, but the Catrice concealer, this is such a good concealer. It truly feels like a high-end concealer at a drugstore price point. It's $7 and I love everything about it. I would say it's pretty similar to Tower 28, but less expensive. Very hydrating, very long wearing, really blendable, and Catrice maybe has a little bit more coverage than Tower 28. So you really can't go wrong with either one of these. I personally would recommend them over Saie. There was another super hyped up concealer that I tried that just didn't really end up working out for me. This is the Fenty Beauty We're Even Hydrating Long Wearing Concealer. So the thing about this one is it is incredibly long wearing, like one of the most long wearing concealers I've tried. So I will give that to it. Like I have a pretty obvious wrinkle between my brows because I always make like this frowning face. And a lot of concealers will crease on me by the end of the day. When I use this concealer, there's no creasing. So if that is your main concern, if you're looking for a concealer that stays in place, that doesn't settle into fine lines or crease throughout the day, I think you'll actually like this one. The issue for me is it claims to be really hydrating, and that's definitely not the case. Like I said, I do tend to be more oily, but I can deal with a little bit of dryness around my nose. And if I have any amount of dryness and I use this concealer, it is instantly enhanced. It will actually look like I have dry skin and it will look cakey and uneven and it will just kind of cling to those areas where I'm dealing with dryness or really any sort of texture. So I definitely don't find it to be a hydrating formula. And for me, like that's one of the main claims that it's super hydrating, really comfortable. But again, if a long wearing formula is what you're truly after, I think you'll like it for that reason. Again, I would recommend going with Tower 28. Kosas is also another great option. That one is not as long wearing as Fenty, but I feel like it has similar coverage and it looks a little bit better on the skin. It definitely has more of a smooth finish and it does hold up well on my oily skin. So again, I haven't decluttered this one because I feel like I can mix it. That's the thing about concealers. Like you can easily mix it with another formula to make it work for you. But as a standalone formula, definitely not my favorite. So I know I said I was most disappointed by the Patrick Ta highlighter, but I think I was also equally disappointed by this product because after trying it for the first time, I was like, that is my new holy grail product. I can't believe I found it after all these years. Like it is a game changer. And it is what some people might consider to be a boring product. It's from LA Girl. It is their Brow Ink Micro Brush Detailer Pen. I love a good eyebrow pen. I really don't use eyebrow pencils anymore. I just go in with a brow gel and then take a brow pen to draw on the rest of my brows to kind of fill them in. And I feel like they make such a difference as someone who doesn't have a lot of brow hair. But the issue is a lot of brow pens end up looking kind of unnatural because they have too much pigment or the product comes out too quickly. And this is a super tiny, really thin brush. Like even looking at it, I'm like, that is the perfect design. And when I first used it, I was like, that is it. That's the one. The issue is it stopped working after like 2 or 3 uses. I don't know if it ran out of product or if there's some kind of issue with the packaging, but I read reviews online saying the same thing. So I know it wasn't just mine. I think, it does come with less product. It comes with about half the amount of product you get in the NYX Micro Brow Pen, which is a lot less, honestly. But the NYX Micro Brow Pen will last me, or why do I keep calling it that? The NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Tint Pen will last me at least a few months. So by that logic, the LA Girl one should last at least a month or two and definitely more than 2 or 3 uses. Another con is the fact that it only comes in 2 shades, which is definitely a fail too. Milani's brow pen is a great alternative. That one only comes in 3 shades, so there aren't quite as many options as there are in the NYX line. The NYX one is probably my favorite. The only issue is this product comes out, the actual ink comes out a lot faster than LA Girl and I think even than Milani. And I just feel like sometimes I end up with unnatural looking brows. So then I have to go in and kind of start all over or really comb them out. So after all this time, like I still don't have my brows down to like a super quick, fast routine. I feel like that is one part of my makeup routine that can sometimes really mess me up and throw me off. And some days I'm like, just go get them microbladed, but I'm really paranoid that I won't end up loving the result and then I'll be stuck with them. So, e.l.f. actually just launched a brow pen as well. I need to try that one out. I think they actually market it as like a micro fine brow pen. So I'll report back if that's a good alternative too. as much as I love NYX and their brow pen and so many of their other products, there is a NYX product that did not work for me. And this, like just thinking about this one, I feel like it came out in the beginning of the year, which is so crazy because I feel like I just talked about this for the first time on my channel, but it is the NYX Duck Plum, what's the official name? High Pigment Plumping Gloss. I was convinced that I was going to love this product because NYX makes some of the best lip products out there and some of the best lip glosses of all time. Honestly, this formula is really gorgeous. It has a lot of pigment. It's very shiny. It looks really smooth on the lips, but it burns your lips so badly. And I'm not talking like your typical lip plumping burn. These are actually infused with spicy ginger. So you can taste the ginger on your tongue and you can feel it on your lips. And I think the first time I tried these, I want to say it was winter and maybe my lips were a little bit dry, kind of chapped. So I instantly felt how painful this product was. If you are someone who is sensitive to plumping, tingling products, definitely stay away from this product. And even if you're not, I would maybe just think twice about it because there are plumping products out there that give you like that strong, slightly burning sensation, but it's not the same as this one. Like this one feels like you ate a hot pepper. And the worst part is I didn't even notice any plumping. Like the Too Faced lip injection, that burns, but your lips are significantly plumped up. This one feels like it's super intense, but my lips pretty much look the same. So I wish they just made this line without the plumping aspect, because if you want a high pigment, super shiny gloss, like this really is such a beautiful formula. It's just, I wouldn't recommend it because it actually stings the lips. NYX does have a formula that ends up looking pretty close. This is Milky Gloss line. This is one of my favorite lip gloss lines of all time. These have pretty good pigment. They're very shiny, very smooth. They don't have any like plumping claims to them. When it comes down to it, my favorite plumping gloss is still Lawless. I'm wearing it today. I have like a pink shade on, which I can't think of the name. I'll put it in the description box below. But like, I feel like I've stopped buying a lot of plumping glosses, and now if I want a new shade, I'll see if Lawless has it first. These make your lips look full. Like, I feel like they almost make my lips look like I have lip injections compared to other plumping glosses, but they don't have that incredibly painful burn. They have a little bit of a cooling tingle, and it's not that they really even like fully plump your lips up, it's that they look so smooth and shiny, they instantly make your lips look fuller. Another formula that I recently tried from Revolution Beauty, the Pout Balm Plumping Lip Glosses. These are really, really beautiful. I've actually been wearing the shade Espresso Cool Nude a ton. These are a little bit more on the sheer side compared to NYX. You can build them up to look a little bit more opaque on the lips, which is nice too. So they can kind of be worn both ways. They do have a little bit of like a cooling tingle, but it's definitely not anywhere near as strong as the Duck Plump from NYX. I would avoid that, honestly. I tried to love this mascara. I really did. And I don't know why it had a hold on me. I've said this before, but like sometimes makeup products have this weird hold on me and they won't work for me, but I'll continue to try to make them work for me. And I think it's because sometimes my lashes would look good with this product, but it always took such an intense amount of effort. And then I was like, maybe once it dries out, it will be better. And it is better once it dries out, but even still, it's not my favorite. It is the Essence Call Me Queen Dramatic False Lash Effect Mascara. So first of all, this is a very wet mascara. I mean, most Essence mascaras are. The other two alternatives that I have to share with you are both from Essence, and these are both really wet formulas too. But I think it's because I think the fact that this one is so wet and the wand also doesn't work that well for me, it just ends up looking like an absolute mess most of the time. I get it all over my eyelid, and if I take the time to do my eyeshadow and then I do my mascara, I feel like I mess my eyeshadow up so badly every single time, because it's not just like a couple of, mascara dots on the eyeshadow, it's everywhere. I feel like this formula is almost a little bit heavy because I don't use an eyelash curler. I've told you I have an irrational fear of eyelash curlers, but honestly, is it irrational? Like, I just feel like they're kind of scary. Some of you have told me that you don't like them too. I just really feel like I'm going to rip my eyelashes out. So I just can't bring myself to use them regularly. I've used them on occasion and I don't know, I don't like them. So I do feel like because my eyelashes aren't lifted in the first place, I notice when a mascara kind of makes them fall. And this one really does weigh them down. My other issue with this is the fact the wand is just too flexible, and that might actually be a selling point for you. I know some people like a good flexible wand, but I feel like because it's so flexible, I can't apply it to my lashes, which is weird. It's like I go to layer it on and it just like skips my lashes and hits me right in the eyelid. So I don't know if this is like a me problem. I just feel like every time I use it, I make such a mess. My eyelashes are way down. They look clumpy. They don't look great. And after it dried out a little bit, it was a little easier to use, but it wasn't like an effortless process. Essence has a million mascaras. One of you suggested a video that I test them all and do like wear tests and application clips, and I might do that in 2025 because they have so many and so many that I haven't tried. But my two favorites are these, the original Essence Lash Princess, the false lash effect one, which I know a lot of people don't like this one, but I swear this one works so well for me. It just makes my lashes look so dramatic, so long, so voluminous. And this is not a bendable wand. So I feel like I'm just able to layer it up really, really easily. I also love the Essence Lash Without Limits. I feel like this one gives a very similar effect to the Lash Princess, but maybe a little bit more of like a fluttery look as compared to a super dramatic, like thick, full look. So they're both great options. This is actually like my #1 mascara right now. I also have it in brown. I've been using it nonstop. So personally, I would recommend these two over this one. It was such a fail for me. This is actually a little bit of a newer product that I tried. It's from Hard Candy. It's their Get a Grip Lash Primer. I do like a good eyelash primer. I think they make a difference. So this one has some intense claims. I think it claims to make your lashes like 5 times more voluminous or 5 times longer. It's one of those. I just read it, but honestly, it doesn't make a difference in either department for me. My lashes are not thicker, they're not longer, they're not enhanced. It almost makes them a little bit sticky, which I'm like, okay, so maybe my mascara will last longer. So I tried using it with a mascara that flakes and smudges, and there really wasn't any difference. Like, I don't feel like it actually locked my mascara into place. In fact, it almost leaves your lashes feeling a little bit sticky, a little bit wet, so the mascara on top doesn't fully dry down. And if you have long lashes or you're prone to like mascara transfer, I feel like it almost causes the mascara to do that more than it would without the primer. Because it creates like this sticky texture, my lashes end up sticking together and looking clumpy, even with some of my go-to separating mascaras. They do say that it's meant to enhance or be like a good base for colorful mascara because it is like this really pretty sky blue color. But on my lashes, it doesn't look like that. Like, it basically looks translucent. So overall, I found this to be a fail. It didn't do anything, and it actually made my lashes look and feel worse than when I don't use it. So if you're looking for a good lash primer, Essence makes one. They have a couple, or they have two, but I like their volume booster one, the one that comes with an orange cap, because that one actually enhances your lashes so, so much. Like, it makes it look like I have a million lashes when I really don't. So that's a great option. That's probably my #1 favorite. But I also like the Too Faced Better Than Sex Foreplay. I did not expect to like this as much as I do. This is the one I recommend if you have mascaras that flake or transfer. This is a good option because it locks your mascara into place so well to the point where it's actually hard to remove at the end of the night. It's almost like this like waterproofs any mascara you use it with. So they're both great options. They do different things, and this one is obviously high end, but I do think it works really well to lock your mascara into place. So there were actually two different primers from the brand One Size that did not work for me. They have other primers that I'm kind of curious to try, even though these two didn't work for me. And these are meant to be like two completely different primers. So the first one is the Oil Sucker Extreme Mattifying Alkaline Primer. Now, I will say this primer does what it claims to do. So this, again, is probably just like a personal preference thing. It really mattifies your skin. It sucks all of the oil out of your skin. Like, if you want the most matte skin of your entire life, use this primer. But if you want your skin to look like skin in any way, shape, or form, I would probably skip over this because it literally takes all of the moisture, all of the oil, and sucks it right out of my skin. So my skin is so dry, it's so tight, which if you have extremely oily skin, maybe that's what you're looking for. And if you go in with like a super tiny amount and really target specific areas, it might actually come in handy for you. But I just found it to be a little bit too extreme. It really does work. But I think the issue for me is because it takes away any moisture, any oil, any glow. It instantly enhances any texture. And I do deal with a lot of texture on my skin. And for me, I'd rather have almost like a little bit of an oily look if my skin has more of a smooth finish than a completely matte finish and a textured look. So I guess really that does come down to personal preference. There are other primers, in my opinion, that mattify and smooth the skin that I would probably skip over this unless, like I said, you have the most extremely oily skin out there. This product from Danessa Myricks has very similar claims, but this is like a few steps drifts down. It's the Yummy Skin Water Powder Serum. I'm not a cosmetic chemist. I'm not like an ingredient expert, but if you look at the ingredients next to each other, you can tell that this one has, slightly more hydrating ingredients in it. It even has like a couple of smoothing ingredients too, so I find it significantly less intense, but it also does keep my skin from getting quite as oily throughout the day. So I like this one because I feel like it does what the one size one does, just like 3 or 4 steps, just like at a level. Okay, so this is like a level 1, like the most intense matte primer ever. This is more like a level 3, like a level 3. Let's move on from that. I feel like I'm overcomplicating it. A couple of other alternatives. This product from e.l.f., it is the Liquid Poreless Putty Primer. Definitely a different texture, but I feel like this really does mattify the skin well too. And on top of that, it leaves you with a really smooth finish. I was using this a ton in the summertime, and I feel like, again, if I'm talking like levels here, this is more so like a level 2. So a really good alternative and a lot less expensive. I would say this one surprised me because I didn't expect it to be quite as mattifying as it is. It is the Huda Beauty Easy Blur Primer. I like this one because it is silicone free, but it gives you the same feel and look as like those typical silicone type primers. So you get that gorgeous smooth finish. It mattifies the skin, but your skin actually stays matte throughout the day and your skin looks smooth throughout the day. So I feel like this one, again, gives me the matte finish I'm looking for without feeling like it's just sucking all of the life out of my skin. This primer from One Size, in my opinion, does not do what it claims to do, which is like the exact opposite of this one. This one does what it claims to do to the extreme, whereas I really don't understand the marketing behind this one. It is the Secure the Glow Tacky Hydrating Primer. So I don't find this to be tacky at all. Like as I blend it into the skin, it kind of feels like a lot of other hydrating primers that end up drying and feeling a little bit sticky. But once this one dries down, my skin feels the exact same. And there's not really any sort of hydrating feel there as well. Again, as you blend it into the skin, it has like that cooling, refreshing feel, and you're like, okay, my skin is going to feel great afterwards. But once your skin, or once the primer dries down, it doesn't feel like you applied anything hydrating to the skin at all. So this honestly just confuses me. I don't understand the claims behind this. I don't understand the marketing behind this. There are so many tacky hydrating primers out there. Like pretty much every single brand makes one at this point, and I guess I have 4 alternatives to share with you. I'll just run through these quickly. If you want a hydrating primer without the tacky feel, I recommend the Smashbox Primerizer Plus. This is a really great serum-like texture. It feels very thin, very refreshing, like this one from One Size, but once it, sinks into the skin, your skin actually feels hydrated. If you want a gripping primer that's also hydrating, you could go with any one of these drugstore options. The most intense sticky one is this one from e.l.f. This will lock your makeup into place all day long. It's a little bit thicker. It's very, very sticky, but your makeup will not move. If you want something a little bit less intense, I would recommend the CoverGirl Skin Enhancer Sticky Grip Primer. This one is a little bit gripping, but definitely not as intense as e.l.f., and it still feels really hydrating on the skin. And kind of the same case with this one from Catrice, the Aqua Splash Grip Primer. It has that nice, refreshing gel type feel, but it leaves a little bit of like a tacky base, so your makeup will last a little bit longer. I really liked the idea behind these Flower Beauty eyeliner duos because they're dual-ended, and sometimes when it comes to eyeliner, like I just don't need a full-sized eyeliner. Very rarely do I use up an entire pencil eyeliner, so it was kind of nice because you were getting 2 eyeliners for the price of one, and then on each one you get like a metallic liner, which is perfect for the waterline, and then the other one is great for the upper lash line. On the upper lash line, these are not terrible. I feel like they perform like your typical wooden pencil liner. They are actually pretty creamy, so you can work with them, smudge them out, blend them out, but they never dry down. That's the big issue because if my eye is watery, if I touch my eye, if I do a wing, by the end of the day, the wing is completely gone. It fades so fast. And these really don't even work on the waterline. Like the color doesn't even show up on my waterline, let alone stay in place all day long. There are way too many good eyeliners out there. I wouldn't recommend picking these up. And honestly, there are so many good pencil liners at the drugstore these days. I don't even really buy them from high-end brands anymore. If you're looking for a really good metallic liner for the waterline, I highly recommend ColourPop. After all these years, the cream gel liners are my absolute favorites. And I like their regular ones too, but their their metallic ones really pop. Like I'm wearing a silver one on my waterline right now. And by the end of the night, like this will still be in place. It's super creamy. It glides on easily. I don't love these for the upper lash line because they do break easily. They're very, very soft, which is why I think they work so well for the waterline. But I'm telling you, if you want a pop of metallic liner, go with these. If you want a creamy liner that blends out really well for the upper lash line that you can also use on the waterline, Essence came out with these earlier this year, the Stay and Play gel liners. They're only a few dollars. They come in really beautiful shades. They're great for a pop of color because they are creamy enough that you can actually, smudge them out, work with them, but they dry down and they actually stay in place well. I don't think I tried a lot of poor quality eyeshadow formulas in 2024. I feel like a lot of formulas were really good, but I did try one palette that was just an absolute fail. I know I've talked about this a few times on my channel, so this is the last you'll hear about it, but since I'm doing an end of the year wrap up, I had to mention it. It's the CoverGirl Eye Enhancer Quad. I know they have a couple of different options. They also have trios, they have single shadows. I assume the formulas are all very, very similar, and I don't even know why they came out with these, to be honest, because CoverGirl last year, or maybe a few years ago, ended up launching these clean color quads. And these are so good, especially compared to these. I wouldn't even recommend trying these. I totally picked this up because of nostalgia. Like my first eyeshadow palette ever was from CoverGirl. And I actually used like a CoverGirl, or maybe it was Maybelline quad, like all the way through college, really until I started filming YouTube videos. And even then, I think I was still using it pretty often, but this just feels like an early 2000s type of formula. Very chalky, not very pigmented. You can make it work. It's not completely unwearable, but out of every single palette I own, this is probably the worst one. So it's not something I would recommend going out and buying. If you do want to buy something from CoverGirl, these are actually really gorgeous. Very creamy, very pigmented, a little bit powdery, but honestly, you can get a gorgeous complete look. Whereas with this one, a lot of the colors either end up blending away or blending together, and it just looks really dry on the eyes. Pretty much every brand ended up launching their version of like a click up glossy stick this year, and pretty much every drugstore brand at this point has one. And I find for the most part, like they all end up being very similar in quality, even if the formulas differ a little bit. So I was kind of surprised when I tried this formula from Catrice, and oh, here's the other one. I was looking for it, and it didn't end up working for me. This is the Melt and Shine Juicy Lip Balm. It sounds so nice, but it's so weird. Like this color, this one is in the shade Secret, has absolutely no color payoff, which is fine. But I think online the swatches did not look like this. It basically looks clear. And then in the actual packaging, like it looks red. This one has a little bit more color payoff. This one is Lost at Sea, but this one's not as glossy. It almost has more of like a balmy effect, which is fine if that's what you're looking for. But on the lips, it feels kind of dry. Like it doesn't have that super moisturizing, really juicy feel and finish that a lot of the other formulas do. And again, because there are so many options to choose from, I wouldn't recommend going with this one. There's also a little bit of a packaging issue. Like sometimes the clicker actually gets stuck and it doesn't really want to push the product up. Catrice, in my opinion, makes a lot of really high quality products, but I didn't find these to be as great as pretty much any other brand out there. So like I said, take your pick when it comes to alternatives, but if you're looking for something that has kind of like that lightweight balmy texture, but actually performs better and feels better on the lips, I would recommend the Flower Beauty Plump Up Gloss Sticks. Flower Beauty was actually one of the first drugstore brands to do this type of formula, and I still think it's a great option. This is Flower Beauty, this is Catrice. Obviously it comes down to what you're looking for, but Flower Beauty has a little bit more pigment. It definitely has more of like a shiny finish to it. It feels a lot more comfortable. My favorite out of all of the drugstore options is this one from ColourPop, the So Juicy Plumping Gloss Balm. These are definitely the glossiest option out there. You can sheer them out and get more of a natural look. You can build them up. They're so comfortable, really beautiful, and they just feel so juicy, so gorgeous on the lips. Okay, so that is it from me for today's video. Just some of the worst products I tried this year, products that I did not end up loving. I actually have a lot more. I filmed probably like 4 or 5 of these videos in 2024. So if you like these types of videos and you want to see even more products that didn't work for me, I'll link some in the description box below. But I'll actually be back in a few days to share the best products of the year. I can't wait to film those videos too, because I tried a lot of great products this year. So Anyway, let me know in the comment section below what some of the worst products you tried were so I can stay away from them or just kind of read through them. I always think it's helpful to hear from you as well. And I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye.